Everybody, my name is Nico, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to survive your first week in Korea. And just to give you a little background on myself, I actually taught in Korea for a year and a half, and I currently work as a placement coordinator who helps send teachers there. So once you get to the very end of the visa process, and this is after you've interviewed, after you've been offered a job, after you've signed a contract, and after you've navigated the whole visa process. And even once your plane ticket has been purchased and your bags are packed. At that moment, right before you get to go, a lot of teachers ask us, what is it going to be like during my first week in Korea, and how can I prepare? So in this video, I just want to give a few tips from my own experience and from other teachers' experiences of the best ways to prepare for and survive your first week in Korea. So the first tip for surviving your first week in Korea is just to embrace the adventure and embrace all the emotions and things that you're feeling. So more than likely, you don't know anybody in the whole country, and perhaps you don't know anybody in the whole region of Asia. And I totally get that that's it's a scary big thing. You're uprooting your life and you're doing something totally new. So yeah, number one advice would be to understand that this is a scary thing, and so it's totally normal if you have any fear or misgivings about it. And whether it happens a few days before your flight, or on the airplane, or even when you land, it's a totally normal part of the process. And in fact, I think it's a healthy, important thing. For any big or super meaningful thing, it means you're getting out of your comfort zone. And so of course there's going to be some butterflies and a little bit of fear. But again, just embrace it, accept it as part of the adventure, and once you get going, you'll be totally fine. Another tip for surviving your first week in Korea is how to deal with jet lag. Especially if you're coming from North America, the time difference is close to 12 or 13 hours. So you're basically swapping night for day, exactly. And this can be pretty tough in your first few days, and often jet lag will lead to fatigue or headaches and just make you feel groggy the whole day. So probably the best thing to do is whenever you land is make sure to stay up the entire day in Korea. So if you land in Korea in the morning, try to avoid a nap, try to just grit through it and keep yourself active through the rest of the day. If you land in the evening and you're not tired at all, then that's fine. Just try to get some sleep, but again, next morning, wake up early, no matter how little sleep you've gotten, and again, force yourself through the first few days. Because if you can just keep yourself awake during the daytime hours of Korea, by 2 or 3 days, your body will just get exhausted and you'll start sleeping at a normal schedule. Okay, tip number 3 is about getting over culture shock. So again, when you land in Korea, you're going to be in a totally different place, and it may look different. The people around you will be different, and it may not be what you're used to. And especially when you first get there, this might coincide with being a little anxious or having feelings of homesickness, and you should know that that's totally normal. That's just like a natural reaction that most people are going to experience to some level. And this shouldn't be seen as a sign of oh my gosh, I made a terrible decision. No, it's just something that you're just going to have to get used to. And the more comfortable you get in the area, those feelings of homesickness and fear and anxiety are going to go away. So I know for my own case, one of the best things to do is learn a little bit of Korean. Especially in your first few days when you start exploring and you start figuring out where the grocery store is, or maybe you need to get in a taxi, or just doing simple errands. Having a few basic Korean phrases under your belt will not only make it easier for you to interact with people and kind of get these errands done, but it'll probably also give you a little bit of confidence that you're not going in there blind. It's not like you've just been dropped in an alien land. When you can speak a little bit of the language, everything starts to make a little bit more sense. Also, never be afraid to ask people for help. And this is whether you're at the airport when you first land, or in your first few days when you're lost, or you're looking for your school, or you're trying to find the grocery store, or ever. Ask people for help, and especially young people. Young Koreans, they've had a lot of English training, and maybe they'll be a little timid, and maybe the first few people will turn you down, but eventually you will find someone who speaks perfect English, and they'll be more than happy to either tell you where to go, or let you use their phone, or sometimes you'll even find someone super nice who is going to hold your hand and walk you directly to wherever you're going. So again, ask people for help if you need it. So the last tip for surviving your first week in Korea is just to give it time. This is a brand new experience, you're in a brand new country, and maybe this is your first time teaching. So all of these things are happening at once, and by far, the hardest week is going to be the first one. So just give it time and know that each day, and especially each week, gets easier. Because each week you figure out a few more things, you meet a few more people, teaching and lesson planning and being in a classroom makes more sense. And by your third or fourth week, you're going to have such a great time, and you'll just be completely immersed in your new Korean adventure. So hopefully after watching this video, you know a little bit more about how to survive your first week in Korea. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below. If you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And lastly, if you're interested in teaching Korean and applying, check out the links below to get started.